morning. Good morning. My name is Kimberly Way, and I'm the Director of Training for the Michigan Works Association. I will be on to be your moderator today. We are so excited because this is the first in our Great Practice Showcase series, where we really just wanted to bring programs that we think would be beneficial across the state of Michigan from certain regions so that you can become familiar with them and see if there's any best practices that you could bring back to your region. So this first one is all about the Capital Area IT Council. Our presenter today is Jordan Davis, and he is the Executive Director of the Capital Area IT Council. But we also have Carrie Rosengana, the CEO of Capital Area Michigan Works, and Takia Norwood, the Program Compliance Manager for Capital Area Michigan Works. And they are here to help Jordan answer any questions about the partnership and what Michigan Works can do to support an IT council. This webinar is being recorded, and a link to the recording will be sent to those of you that registered following the conclusion of the training. Please do feel free to ask questions during the presentation in the chat box. Jordan really is interested in getting a dialogue going, so you do not have to hold your questions until the end. We will be able to bring those up as they are asked. Please mute your microphones so that we're able to hear the presenters, and also be sure to check out our event and training calendar. We are constantly adding new dates and new training opportunities. So with that, I will turn it over to Jordan.
Thank you very much for the amazing introduction, Kim. And thank you to all of those who attended the Michigan Works Association's Great Practices Showcase. Capital Area IT Council and Capital Area Michigan Works were thrilled to be asked to participate for the inaugural presentation for the series. As Kim touched on, I want to make sure that the people in the audience have a 360-degree view of the Capital Area IT Council, how we intersect and intertwine with Capital Area Michigan Works. So please feel free to ask questions, raise your hand. Let's get a good conversation going so I know that you all are getting the data and information you need if you so choose to replicate this in your own prosperity region. So without further ado, let me go ahead and pull up my slides here and we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, so as I said, thank you all for joining us for the Michigan Works Association's Great Practices Showcase. I'm thrilled to be here and be able to highlight what we're doing at Capital Area Michigan Works and in the Capital Area IT Council to the rest of our members around the state. So I'd like to introduce myself a little bit. I always find that proper introductions make things go a little bit smoother. So hello, it's very nice to meet everyone out there. My name is Jordan Davis. I am a lifelong resident of the greater Lansing region. Well, outside of a couple of years, I lived in Phoenix for about a year and then lived in Indianapolis for about a year as well. But other than that, born, raised, bred right here in the capital area. Graduated from Williamston High School in 2002. Have been in a bunch of different industries since high school. Was a mortgage banker for a while, worked for General Motors as an operations manager and operations supervisor, restaurant management, things like that, bar manager. But then I moved over to Career Quest Learning Centers, and that kind of brought me into the workforce development arena. Worked over there for a couple of years in business development, and then was fortunate enough to be onboarded to the Capital Area Michigan Works as the Executive Director of the Capital Area IT Council, and have been in that position since December of 2019. Again, thrilled to be here today to kind of tell you the ongoings of the IT Council since my inception. So one thing that I've noticed about a lot of the webinars that I've been to recently is they all like to start with a really good on-point inspirational quote. So one quote that I hang on to is from Janet Yellen's speech in 2015, where she said, productivity depends on many factors, including our workforce's knowledge and skills, and the quantity and quality of the capital, technology, and infrastructure they have to work with. When I think of that quote, it fits pretty well with what I do as the executive director of the Capital Area IT Council. So I am constantly beating the drum with the organizations, our member organizations, as to how they can improve and increase our workforce's knowledge and skills in order to provide the workforce of the future for those organizations. So I just thought that that was a pretty good on point topic, not to mention that she's just been tagged in as the Secretary of Treasury. So I think that's a pretty cool thing. So moving forward, so what I would like to be able to share today is a 360-degree view of the Capital Area IT Council. So in order to do so, I want to take us back to 2007, where we started. The interesting or cool part about this is while I have only been with the IT Council since 2019, I had to go back and do a little bit of research myself on the history and the origins of the Capital Area IT Council. And I found out that there's been several different iterations than what we are today. So I'll do my best to cover the history for you, to let you know how we started and how we kind of came to be. And then I will spend most of the time today talking about where we are at today and who we are, so that you have all of the information of a 2021 Capital Area IT Council in case you would like to take that back and replicate pieces of that. And then I want to talk a little bit about where we are headed. And I think that this is an important part because we are an employer led coalition. And as the executive director, I listen to the needs and wishes and initiatives of the board of directors and council members. And I do my best to move that forward in the future. So by covering our vision, mission, goals, and dreams, I think it will give you a comprehensive look as to what our board of directors and council is thinking about the direction of the future. Again, questions and answers throughout. Feel free to raise your hands and I'll do my best to address each and every individual question as we go here. So getting started here, we have to, when we think about the history of the Capital Area IT Council, we have to think back to the early 2000s, where industries of all sectors started implementing technology at a rapid pace. And organizations started, not just locally, but nationally, started looking for solutions as to how to ensure they have a knowledgeable and skilled workforce of the future. Not wanting the private sector to address the issues alone, state and local governments decided to address the issues by establishing regional skills alliances. And that brings us to the IT Council. So in 2007, the Capital Area IT Council came to life as a Michigan Regional Skills Alliance to address specific workforce development challenges facing the information technology industry in the greater Lansing area. The council was charged to identify, develop, and implement real solutions for improving the quantity and quality of IT professionals in the greater Lansing region. In 2007, Capital Area Michigan Works convened an advisory group made up of local IT employers to study the challenges facing local IT industry and workforce. And this helped to inform and guide the publication of the growing IT labor market study, which became the basis of Capital Area Michigan Works Michigan RISA application to the state of Michigan. That same year, Capital Area Michigan Works was awarded a 1-year, $100,000 grant to establish the Capital Area IT Council as a regional skills alliance. Capital Area Michigan Works hired its first executive director for the Capital Area IT Council in July of 2007. Members of the initial advisory group were recruited to serve on an organizing committee until the IT Council was officially established in the fall of 2007, when its first executive director and governing board were elected. The following year, the Capital IT Council adopted a membership dues structure and officially transitioned to becoming a fully sustainable member organization. So that brings us up to today. So that's a little bit about of the history that I learned while researching how the Capital Area IT Council came to be. Do we have any questions on the history and the formation of the Capital Area IT Council up until this point? Okay, I'm sure we'll be covering a lot more in depth on that in the coming slides. But moving forward to where we are at today, I want to talk a little bit about how Capital Area Michigan works and the IT Council intersect as a unit. In my personal opinion, it's almost a perfect relationship between the two organizations. We have a lot of the same initiatives and we work with a lot of the same players within our community. So it works really well together. So Capital Area Michigan Works is a non-voting member of our board of directors. So they attend all of our meetings and they support the initiatives of the IT Council through that. They also act as our fiduciary. They provide accounting assistance for the Capital Area IT Council, as well as provide their payroll and benefits package to the executive director. And then they support the executive director in various ways. As you can see, they're here today to support me through my meeting. And a lot of times, being that the board of directors um, of the Capital Area IT Council are pretty high level members of different organizations, they don't always have the day to day in and out time to support me through some of the things that I would need support through. So the Capital Area Michigan Works team steps in and seamlessly helps me, work through different initiatives. We also use the Capital Area IT Council also uses Capital Area Michigan Works media connections. So Piper and Gold is the public relations firm that Michigan Capital Area Michigan Works uses. And in the last year or so, we've had, I think, 4 different opportunities to be connected with different local media spots through Piper and Gold, which has been awesome. We were able to do a Michigan Business Network blurb, I guess you would call it. We also did a Fox 47 Facebook Live spot along with a Fox 47 Morning Blend spot. And they've also got us in our 517 magazine. Some of you might be more familiar with its old name, which I think was Business Monthly magazine here in the local region, but changed their name recently. So we've had 4 different media spots exposure through Piper and Gold, which we're very appreciative for and had great results for that. So Capital Area Michigan Works does provide us some publicity and PR, things like that. And then the main part, the funnest part for me as part of being Capital Area Michigan Works is participation with the CAMW programs. So we are technically viewed as a part of the business services team, which I think rightfully so, because it fits really well together. So we actively engage with the business services team, with the business resource network, with our apprenticeship program, as well as our career educational advisory council. Some of you might know it as T3. But all of those programs go out into the community and engage employers and try and bring them into Michigan Works as a partner. And so when the the Capital Area IT Council is able to have some connections with the IT heads of those organizations, which can help connect different programs through Michigan Works at those organizations. We also work with the WIOA Path and TAA programs, along with employment services. So from time to time, we will have a very highly qualified IT professional who's just having trouble connecting with their next career come through. And the WIOA managers or career coaches might see an application that they're like, whoa, this fits really well with IT. They have a great IT background. They might pass me that resume, and then I can get that to the proper people in the proper department, normally HR department at those organizations. But it's just another tentacle that we can use to try and serve our customer base, which are the people coming through the doors. We also provide updates for the Capital Area Michigan Works workforce and administrative boards. And the IT Council rents space from Capital Area Michigan Works the same as any other of our community partners would rent space from Capital Area Michigan Works. Do we have any questions on how the IT Council and Capital Area Michigan Works intersect?
Hey, Jordan, can I add just one thing too that might be helpful? There's also been some really great opportunities through the initiatives that the IT Council have taken to explore different grant opportunities. So one of the things historically that we had in the past was an H-1B US DOL grant. That was spearheaded through that partnership with the IT Council employers directly letting us know what those training opportunities were that they needed for their positions that were coming up. So that really is a great way for those employers to have an opportunity to provide input as we're formulating and structuring the programs of the future and looking at those grant opportunities too. So just wanted to add that as one other way that it connects to the work that a Michigan Works agency can do. Thanks, Jordan.
And that is exactly why I was very appreciative that Carrie and the CAMW team were able to come today, because I knew there was going to be some internal Michigan Works things that I needed some clarification on. So thank you very much for that. So moving forward, I think I want to talk a little bit about where we are today. So we're moving from the history and how we intersect with Michigan Works into who the Capital Area IT Council is today. So I want to, again, give you that 360-degree view. So don't be afraid to ask questions if I omit something or omit something, or if you're just wanting me to expand on what we're talking about at that current point in time. But so who is the Capital Area IT Council? So over the past, couple of weeks while I've been preparing this presentation, this has been a question that I have had trouble answering myself. I've often wondered why we put together the paragraph we did to describe who we are. And as I think about a better way to describe it to the group today, I realize there really isn't one. We are literally a group of collaborative innovators that impact technology in the capital area. To kind of, illustrate that, one of our members is the state of Michigan's DTMB, right? So we know the state of Michigan is one, if not the largest employer in the state of Michigan, right? They have tons of people, tons of different departments, and they participate in almost every aspect of the IT Council, right? But then we have EXE Research. EXE Research is a computational chemistry organization that focuses in on big data and how they can utilize big data to help chemistry improve. And that is a single, that's owned and operated by one person, and he is a member of the IT Council. So we are a group of collaborative innovators. There's no size, there's no structure, there's no industry, there's nothing specific that makes you a member of the IT Council, other than the fact that you share a vision to create and sustain a vibrant and thriving IT industry in the greater Lansing region. So in a nutshell, that's who we are, is a group of people who come together to tackle different IT initiatives in the greater Lansing region. And what do we do at the Capital Area IT Council? So we do a lot of different things, but the main focus of what we do is we network. We provide different networking opportunities to our membership to come together and to address common issues and share best practices. We have data transfer. We have fun events where we just come together to socialize and add some camaraderie to the group. But in a nutshell, what we do is we network and provide opportunities for organizations to learn about what each other are doing in our community, and hopefully strike up reciprocating relationships between the organizations that can help improve the tech ecosphere here in the greater Lansing region. So I prepared this slide because I wanted you to see the reach that an organization like an IT Council can have in a certain region of the state. So here we have our board of directors. So the Capital Area IT Council at its maximum has 12 board of director members. At our minimum has 7. Right now we're sitting at 11. We just lost one, unfortunately, but we have, for example, the Chief Information Officer of Indian County Technology and Innovation on our board of directors. We also have the Center Director for the Innovative Institute and Technical Careers Division of Lansing Community College. We have a Business Development Manager for Randstad Technologies, which I believe is the largest staffing firm in the nation. We have the Vice President of Lansing Economic Area Partnership, so we bring in economic development. And each one of these people volunteers their time, energy, and expertise to try and make the capital region the premier tech region in the state of Michigan. So again, as a Michigan Works agency, when you think about having the availability to contact these people at the drop of a dime, it has benefits to the organization as a whole. Capital Area Michigan Works, as well as the Capital Area IT Council. So leaders, innovators in the tech space, they must be from a member organization, and they are voted into a 2-year cycle by members of the IT Council. So each IT Council organization has one voting member. Every year they vote on who they think, which one of their peers would be the best to lead the Capital Area IT Council for the next coming couple of years. So any questions on the board of directors? Perfect. So this is a look at the membership of the IT Council right now. It's not really important who they are, but I kind of wanted you to see what they are. So as you see, we have hospitals, municipalities, software companies, educational institutions, government agencies, telecommunications agencies, individual members who just out of the passion of their heart want to be a member of our organization, but their entire organizations don't want to be a member of the organization. So we are across the board, different sizes, different industries, different sectors, but we all have one thing in common. We have a heavy IT presence or a wish to improve the IT landscape here in the greater Lansing region. And of these organizations, I thought a cool revelation as I was looking at these were the industries that we actually impact, right? So a lot of people know the insurance tech industry here in greater Lansing is growing at, I think, 10 times the rate of the rest of the nation. So we have a lot of that insurtech investment organizations who are invested in insurtech as a part of the IT Council. But it doesn't stop there. We have finance tech, education tech, straight information technology companies. We have municipalities that are a part of the organization, telecommunications companies that are a part of the organization. One thing I found as the executive director of the Capital Area IT Council is pretty much every single company has something that they can find valuable or benefit from being a part of the IT Council. So this is another cool slide that I put together that I just wanted to kind of give a visual depiction of what we do. So this slide I put together by going to each and every one of our organization's websites and asking what this company does. And so these are blurbs of what our companies do. So we spread everything from annuities to web application development. We have manufacturing, IT staffing, portfolio and project management, economic development, education, finance. All of these are the concentrations and expertise fields of Capital Area IT Council organizations. So it's really across the board. Depending on what region you're in, everyone's economy is going to look a little bit different. So starting an IT council would look a little bit different in every region, but there is a lot of opportunity out there to bring organizations together as far as the IT council goes. So now I want to talk a little bit about what we do as far as our meetings. So we put on a series of meetings and networking events throughout the year. So we have all of our events are virtual due to COVID-19 right now and have been since I believe last March. We're planning on staying virtual through at least June, and then we will revisit according to everything else that's going on. But moving virtually for the IT Council hasn't hurt us as much as you would think. Some of our value was in actually coming together and having face-to-face networking meetings, lunch. People really like that. But our attendance has stayed pretty similar now that we've moved virtual, and we don't think that we will ever go back to a solely just doing face-to-face meeting events. I think we'll always have some form of virtual option for our membership as well because they find that valuable. But we do a coffee refresh every month where we do a member spotlight, where one of our member organizations gets to come in, spend about 45 minutes telling the rest of our membership something awesome about their company that they're doing. It could be an initiative. We leave that pretty wide open for people. Right now, we have 4 peer groups established in the Capital Area IT Council. So peer groups are, what peer groups we have are decided on by our membership. the board of directors sees a need in that space of IT and will form a peer group around that. We'll talk more about that here in a little while, but right now we have a help desk peer group, an operations peer group, a software development peer group, and a women in technology peer group. Those groups meet every other month with their membership and put together an on-point, up-to-date topic surrounding that field. We also do quarterly tech talks and lunch and learns, where we like to bring in a more high level outside of our organization speaker to come in and highlight something that is going on within the IT space, nationally or globally, or just some really on point topic. And then we do an all member meeting. I kind of like to call it my, state of the IT council meeting, where we highlight what we're doing, our successes, our accomplishments, and our initiatives for the coming years to our membership. Any questions on the peer groups? Do we have any?
Jordan, we did have some questions come in about the dues and IT jobs. Is it okay if I ask you those?
Sure, I can't see the chat, so just interrupt me when they come. So.
All right, so the first is, what is your dues structure?
So our membership dues structure is based off of how many employees you have working in the state of Michigan. So we range from 300 for an individual membership to 4,000 that can afford you up to 499 employees as a member of the organization.
Wonderful. How is Lansing addressing the work from anywhere, which is very pertinent to IT jobs?
So we as a council are addressing it by having repeated meetings about the work from home space. So right now, a lot of our peer groups are discussing their views on return to work. I can't speak for exactly how each and every individual organization is addressing it, but I know that as a network, our peer groups are focusing in on how the organizations are bringing people back at what speed, whether they're going to have rotations, whether they're going to have full workforces come back in, or whether they're going to stay all virtual. What I see from the majority of our organizations is they're going to have some sort of a mix of people coming in on different days to try and keep the socially distancing aspect work. And they're moving anyone who has the ability to solely work from home to a work from home format.
Jordan, can I just add on a little bit there too? Sorry, Kim. The other thing I think that's important to recognize is that the IT companies that we work with, many of them have been working from home for years or remotely for years. So it's really been a nice opportunity for them to share some of those best practices. And even I know in the last meeting, they were talking about hosting some conversations about how to be convening different virtual webinars and meetings for full optimum engagement purposes, because they really have been in this space for years from working remotely, and they do have a lot of knowledge about some of those best practices and tips of the trade too, to be able to leverage with a broader audience, because they have been doing that.
That's great input, Carrie. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Lastly, does the council have a vision for fiber or high-speed internet access across Greater Lansing? And in that, what about free Wi-Fi?
That is a great question. That is not something that the IT council has crossed as a bridge yet. But I do know, as I mentioned, when I lived in Indianapolis, a small suburb called Fishers had free Wi-Fi. So anytime you walked through the city, you would be able to connect to the city's Wi-Fi. So that would be a great initiative for us to look at in the future, but I have not had any conversations as of yet about high speed or Wi-Fi.
All right, those look like all the questions we have for right now.
Awesome. So we'll move forward. And again, don't be afraid to pop in and ask questions. Make sure you get the information that you need out of this presentation. So thank you. So this here is a sample mock-up of one of our peer groups. So I wanted to just, again, give you a visual aid of kind of how we set up the vertical hierarchy of our peer groups. So at the top there, you will have one of our board of directors members who is, really on top of that specific industry. They might work within that industry. So this is a sample of our help desk peer group, right? So at the top of this, we have a board of directors champion who kind of takes that peer group under their belt and pushes it forward. If we have more than one member of the board of directors who would like to be a part of that group, we move them down to the second tier and we call them liaisons. Obviously, we want as much assistance as we can get in each peer group. But then they'll go into the membership and look to fill out the chairs and co-chairs and then the planning members of that committee. So here on the next slide, I kind of break that down a little bit. So each peer group is championed by a board member and then liaised by other board members. Each peer group is responsible for establishing a charter and appointing leadership. Peer group leadership and planning committee members are tasked with planning and executing bi-monthly peer group meetings, delivering up-to-date, on-point topics that add value. Each peer group does a networking meeting every other month. They charter for the help desk is to create opportunities for IT leadership professionals, to build relationships with other IT professionals, share best practices, introduce new resources available, and offer support for new training and development opportunities. This specific peer group meets every Thursday or the third Thursday of every other month from 12 to 1:30. And they have 2 planning committee meetings a month, the second and fourth Tuesday of each month. And I thought that this was a really cool depiction here because this kind of lets you know who participates on an individual peer group. So the board champion for this peer group is from Randstad Technologies. The chair is from Michigan State Federal Credit Union, committee co-chair from Sparrow Health Systems. Then we have telecommunications, education, another credit union, and a vocational rehab, who all come together several times a month to network and talk about different initiatives as far as the IT landscape in the greater Lansing region. So it really does bring people from outside organizations, different industries, different fields together and aligns them under, one common theme. So I want to talk a little bit about the technology that we use at the Capital Area IT Council. So in the past, we used WordPress. So I'm not sure how many people are familiar with WordPress, but it's a very affordable, pretty easy to use, what I'll call brochureware friendly website. And when I say brochureware, you put your marketing material up, you post it to your website, and that's about it. There's no back-end interactiveness, right? It's very hard to manage your membership from that. So fortunately for us, we've made some good strides and we've moved forward to the point with our membership where we need a more robust system. So we as an organization chose Wild Apricot. I'm not sure how many people are familiar with that out there. But Wild Apricot is what I would call a medium tier customer relationship management system. So it allows us to create different things on the back end to keep our customer base engaged. It allows us to seamlessly email. It helps us with invoicing. It helps us with finance tracking and things like that, staying in constant communication with our membership. It also allows us to build a spot in the back end for member content only. Obviously, we think one of the valuable offerings we can give to our membership is to have a place where they can come and visit a repository of all of our meetings and intellectual property, I guess I'll call it, what we've come up with and put into a container for them. So we're able to build that through Wild Apricot, which is awesome for us. Wild Apricot's just as easy to use as far as building the brochureware or the frontward facing marketing stuff of a website. So we're moving from WordPress over to Wild Apricot here, and we're in the process of building that. One thing that's a benefit of being a part of the IT Council is you're going to have people within your membership who can take on the duty of building websites and things like that. So you don't have to worry about outsourcing that or going and finding an outside firm to come build that for you. You can tap your membership to help you with all of those technological issues that you have. Oh, so I want to talk a little bit about the challenges we face as an IT council. So I've only been here since December 2019, but obviously with everything going on in the world, we've had a lot of challenges. The main one being that we are a volunteer organization. So anytime that you are managing a volunteer organization, you have to be aware that people's, main 9 to 5s take precedence over their volunteer organization. So when you have like a pandemic hit, people's focus shifts away from the volunteer organization. Group synergy. So again, we have people who are really, really passionate about certain fields within the IT sector. So someone from a bank might be passionate about what they're doing, or someone from an educational institution might be passionate about the education committee. So synergy as a whole and getting everyone to kind of try and play roles in all of the aspects of the IT council has been a challenge. And also recruiting new members, getting out in front of the community, bringing new members into the organization, conveying what we do, and then onboarding them into the organization across the board. So you might find one person from an organization who's really into the women in technology group, and they will bring themselves and a couple people from their organization, normally women or their advocates, to that meeting, but they don't really disseminate information to all the people who could benefit from our operations peer group or our software development peer group within their circle. So recruiting and onboarding is always a challenge. Good problem to have is logistics for venues. So obviously we've moved over to a virtual format. So logistics for venues hasn't been as big of an issue, although you do have to decide what size package you'd like to purchase through like a Zoom or something like that. Obviously, some allow more people to do webinars than others. So that's kind of the virtual size for venues, not as big of a thing. But we had a peer group that had surpassed 150 people, right? And so we were looking to find venues that have the amenities we need for upwards of 150 people. And believe it or not, here in the greater Lansing area, there's only a few of them that can provide a lunch and seat that many people. So that's always been something that we needed to tackle. And then with that, sponsorship does not always cover the cost of the meals and the venue for those large groups. So it's something we've had to look at as far as our sponsorship program and how best to tackle the size of the venues. And then raising revenue. Obviously, for a nonprofit member organization, all of our revenue is derived from membership dues and from sponsorship dues. So it's a constant grind to get out in front of those and to bring in those membership dues and the sponsorship dues. And then again, tying back to, COVID-19 pandemic, right? A lot of people didn't know what they were going to do with their finances. So it's a threat to the organization when you look at a SWOT analysis for outside influences and raising revenue. So just a couple things that I wanted everyone to be aware about as far as challenges go. Do we have any questions about the challenges aspect of the IT Council? Awesome. Okay, moving forward here. How are we doing on time?
We're doing good. You still have about 40.
Perfect. Awesome. So now I want to talk a little bit about the IT Council in the vision and the mission and the future. So our vision is a vibrant and thriving IT industry in the greater Lansing region. And our mission is to be a catalyst for connectivity by uniting, developing, and promoting our IT community to attract global talent and become a statewide and national leader in tech-based innovation. When I think of the greater Lansing region, and tech in comparison to the rest of the state of Michigan and nationally. I see no reason why the capital area should not be the premier tech region of the state. We are the state seat here as being the capital. We also have the perfect mix. Big three educational institutions: Michigan State, LCC. We have a great school system here. So I believe that we should be the leading tech space in the state and compete on a global level. For some that may not know, we're already doing so in cybersecurity. I think we're ranked in the top 10 for as far as cybersecurity professionals and cybersecurity investment. So I want to make sure that it's not just cybersecurity in the greater Lansing region, but I want to enact this mission to make the greater Lansing region a really tech-friendly ecosphere. So some of our goals in order to reach those dreams and enact our vision and mission is we want to be a hub for all things IT. So I'm sure you're picking up on it through the presentation, but we have a wide array of areas we focus on as far as IT goes. So, women in technology, it's not a specific IT focus, but yet we want to make sure that we're advocating to have all the IT jobs available to all demographics of people. When we look at statistics and we look at numbers, we want to make sure that we're a hub for not only the software development and hardware side, but also for the intrinsic things that go into being a hub for all things IT. We also want to develop talent. So we want to invest in talent development and creation. And we do that now through our user peer groups, but we want to take a look at what we need to do as far as partnering with local educational systems and local educational institutions, workforce development boards, economic development boards, to make sure that we have a workforce here in the greater Lansing region that our organizations can, for lack of a better word, pluck from, and they're skilled and trained to fill those positions that are going unfilled here in the capital region. And we also want to amplify the buzz around IT in the community. We want to make sure that people are excited about the capital area when the things we're doing in IT. We want to drive awareness to identify the skills gaps needed. Our employers tell us the skills that they are not finding in our local workforce, and we want to make sure that we get out here and tell people what it is that they need to do. And what a better place to do that from than Capital Area Michigan Works, right? We want to facilitate access to tools for people to build a strong workforce. We've talked about things like independent private investment from our companies into learning centers and tech centers that, there's a whole bunch of high level macro ideas being tossed around as far as how we can impact IT here in the greater Lansing area. We want to get a newsletter going so that we can keep people abreast of what we're doing in the area in regards to IT investment and facilitation. So my last slide here, and then we can kind of open it up for conversation, is I want to talk about the direction of the Capital Area IT Council and where we're going. So I touched on it a little bit before. As the executive director, I listened to 12 really smart, driven, intelligent people tell me what they think we need to do in the capital region as far as the direction of the Capital Area IT Council. So these are my words, not theirs, but I do my best to take their thoughts and reiterate them. So the IT Council's direction moving forward is through the Capital Area IT Council. We want businesses in our region to continue to work collaboratively with one another to organically grow and develop a deep pipeline of future IT talent in the Lansing region, right? So our mission talks about attracting global talent to the Lansing region. And I've shifted that focus to organically growing talent in the local Lansing capital region. So we want to do a mix of both. We just don't want to bring in people who are from outside. We want to find a way how we can connect our high school students with these jobs. We can connect people who have, been working in the field and are looking to upskill with these jobs. So it's about developing a deep pipeline of future talent. We also want to partner and invest with educational institutions and youth organizations in the region to see what it is that the private businesses of the Greater Lansing region can do in partnership with these youth organizations and educational institutions to make sure that they have the skills they need when they come out and connect with those jobs, whether it be soft skills, whether it be training, whether it be certifications in IT fields, whatever it might be. We want to make sure that we partner with those institutions and bring that message down from the organizations to the educational partners. We want to align with the state of Michigan's 60 by 30 initiative. I'm not sure if everyone's familiar with that, but I did put a website on here, the 60 by 30. Basically, Governor Whitmer and the state of Michigan want 60% of our state to have I believe, an accredited certification or some sort of educational degree by 2030. I think that's really important in conjunction with the certification and education needed to take some of these IT jobs. I mean, we would think some of them need a computer science 4-year degree. A lot of them don't. A lot of them, we can find different ways to partner with that initiative and kind of make everything work for everyone involved, including the person looking for a job and the organization looking for an employee. So we want to work with regional IT organizations to adopt and implement apprenticeships that lead to good paying careers. So as I touched on, we have an amazing apprenticeship liaison that sits right in Capital Area Michigan Works, and we talk back and forth with each other about what it is we need to do to get the IT companies to invest in this apprenticeship model. I think it's really important moving forward. When we look back in history and we look at some of the most successful times for middle-class workers in this nation, we look to General Motors and we look to what they were doing to usher people into those good paying jobs. And a lot of it was an apprenticeship model. They said, come get a job and we'll teach you how to paint the car, right? So how we can incorporate that mindset and that philosophy into our IT organizations and partner with USDOL, Capital Area Michigan Works apprenticeship liaisons or apprenticeship liaisons throughout the state to bring those opportunities to our local regions, I think is important. And then also bring training opportunities to the Capital Region. I'm not 100% sure if people are aware, but here recently, Michigan State University and Google partnered to form a coding boot camp in Southeast Michigan. So it's going to be available to, I believe, residents who are 21 or 25 even and up who are looking to get new skills. And they're going to be able to come into a 12-month coding boot camp and free of charge and actually walk out with the certifications they need in coding. And I want to do that here in Lansing. And the IT Council wants to bring things and opportunities like that to the people of the capital area. So any questions about the direction?
No, are you okay if we open it up to some of the other things that came through in the chat?
Absolutely.
All right. So first we have from Willie. Are you aware of any peer groups for business development located in the Detroit area?
I am not. I am sure that there are some. I have not done much research on the different ongoings in the Detroit area, but I know there has to be several. I would look towards the Chamber of Commerce, some different places like that down in that local region.
Jordan, maybe even checking with the local Michigan Works agency there. They might be that first step connector to make. And I'm sure that they would have that information from their own business services team to be able to link them to where those resources can be found easily. So if you're in Detroit proper, that would be Detroit Employment Solutions Corporation that you could reach out to get some of that feedback.
Thank you, Carrie. This, I think you kind of answered on the last slide, so I don't know if Anne has more questions about it, but she was interested in, aside from meetings and networking groups, what types of other initiatives does the council pursue? I don't know if she wants to elaborate or if she got her question answered or not.
So I can.
Oh, I was just going to say, hi, nice to meet you, Jordan. No, I think most of my questions were answered. I was just wondering, like specific initiatives, like you kind of talked about like the apprenticeship program that you've been working on. And I didn't know if there were other initiatives or projects that you work on throughout the year to kind of move the council's mission and vision forward.
Yes. So we absolutely do have a lot of different initiatives. I covered most of what we are working on currently. But one good thing that I'll just kind of say, we're very flexible and malleable as a council. So initiatives come in real time. So we are able to pivot on the drop of a dime and start a new peer group or start a new initiative. So we're constantly looking for what the next trend is in IT or business development or education. And then we're looking to incorporate that into our initiatives moving forward. We have not had a chance due to COVID-19 and some of the crazy things going on in the world right now to readdress our strategic plan this year yet. So some of those initiatives we're going to be readdressing here in the coming months probably. But yeah, any initiative that your council wants to bring forward is the initiative that the council can go with. Does that make sense, right?
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey, Jordan, maybe to expand on that too, there's opportunities for the council partners to be able to leverage and work within the Michigan Works activities that are happening. So a great example of that would be the My Career Quest events that many of us across the state have. So there's opportunities to be able to reach out to those employers who are engaged within the IT Council and gauge their interest so that they can be able to interact with those younger students who are exploring careers. And so those sort of initiatives that are housed underneath the broader Capital Area Michigan Works project side of things, we always make sure that we loop Jordan into those as well, so he can make sure those opportunities are available to his members as well.
One initiative that's kind of in the ground floors and had a little bit more momentum pre-COVID was right now we have our Women in Technology peer group. And we also have our Junior Achievement, right? So the Junior Achievement does the Girls Dream Fair every year, where they work with young girls and partner them with mentors, and they see amazing successes out of the girls going into the fields of their mentor, right? So like overwhelming successes. So one thing that we've been working towards is partnering some of the women from the Women in Technology peer group with the girls from the Junior Achievement Girls Dream Fair as an ongoing mentorship program so that they can see and visualize the CEO of an organization or the vice president of an organization being a female. So we'd like to put that is one of our initiatives moving forward. Mentorship is something that we're really focusing in on how we can affect the youth.
Great, thanks, Jordan. This is about being part of the council. So in order to be a member of the IT Council, does the council welcome members in neighboring areas such as Livingston, Shiawassee, Genesee counties?
Yes and no, right? So we're always going to welcome someone to the Capital Area IT Council. If you want to participate with us and you want to pay membership dues, we're going to welcome you in, knowing that there isn't necessarily an equivalent in every surrounding prosperity region. With that being said, we would be very transparent in the fact that the largest benefits and value is going to be from someone from the Tri-County region in our own prosperity region. I mean, we do have, like, for example, a Hulft who is headquarters out of San Mateo, California, but they have a 2-person, 3-person branch working out of Owasso, Michigan, so Shiawassee County, and they're a member. but we would never really probably approach someone from the, Ann Arbor region and say, hey, why don't you join our council? We'd say, why don't you get with Spark? So because they have an equivalent, or vice versa in Grand Rapids, where they have some equivalent member organizations. But we'll take them if they want to come.
It's really about the presence
Perfect.
here, though, right, Jordan? More about that presence. So if they have some sort of presence within our Tri-County region, they may be based for their home base outside of our region, but if they have a presence here, then we'd certainly entertain those conversations.
Just in full transparency, the council did not start by counting all employees within the state, and this might help answer that question. It started by counting all employees that worked in the Tri-County area.
Thank you. Do you have a website to learn more about the MSU Google Coding Camp?
I do, and I can make sure to attach that with the presentation. It is.
That would be great. Yeah, we'll be sending the recording. Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. It's easily Googleable. So if you just Google MSU/Apple or Google Coding Bootcamp, I think it was Google, it'll tell you all about it.
Perfect. And we will be sending out the presentation that Jordan had, as well as the recording in our follow-up email. So we'll be sure to include it there as well. And then last comment, I like the idea of engaging youth early. It sounds like you might be thinking also of a tech incubator as well. Is that true?
Yes. Engaging youth at the end of elementary school and middle school level with technology, making sure that youth has the technology they need to become familiar with it in their homes, are all top of mind awareness and initiatives that the IT Council would like to pursue or is working on pursuing. And yes, a tech incubator, right? So we want to make sure that venture capitalists and startups and organizations with heavy tech presences find the greater Lansing area to be a tech-friendly ecosphere. So any tech incubators and maturation of tech philosophy and thought process that we can create here in the capital area is what we're looking into. So.
Wonderful. Well, those are all the comments we have in the chat. So I don't know if anybody is interested in coming off mute to have a comment or ask any questions. This would be your time.
Hey, Jordan, Bill Robinson. I'm with the Bureau of Services for Blind Persons in Lansing. Great presentation. Appreciate Capital Area Michigan Works putting this together for us too as well and hosting it. I didn't know anything about this and I've learned so much. So it's really exciting work that you're doing. I did not grow up in Michigan. I'd say I grew up in Southern Michigan. It's really Chattanooga and Atlanta and North Carolina. So that's kind of far south. And people say, well, why'd you move here? I said, it's for the weather, right? But seriously, I'm really excited about it because having worked a lot with our youth, we're looking at a lot of tech careers for individuals with disabilities, whether it's blindness or a combination of blindness and autism or general disabilities, representing the general agency as well today. I do want to look into a membership opportunity, so maybe we can talk about that offline. I've had the opportunity in my brief career, because my career is really business and just been with vocational rehabilitation state government for 4 years. And I kind of like your background because I was in food service with the largest franchisee of Arby's. I was also in the linen business and in a multinational company, and then with Price Waterhouse at one point. So a lot of diversity you and I share together. But when I'm looking at this, I'm wondering if it makes sense for me to join, because I just was appointed as the VR representative to the WIOA IT Steering Committee out of DC. And it's a lot of the workforce partners, but I'm representing VR on that. And we're really trying to drive both careers into STEM, as well as look at ways to better share data, and better utilize data. You know, one of the things that we all do as companies or organizations is we gather data, and there's a cost to that gathering of data and storing data. So if you're not drawing out of that data pool, you're kind of wasting a large asset there. And then finally, just we've learned so much from working from home. I think it's an incredible opportunity, you know, to attract people into IT, especially in the disabled area, because one of the issues we have with our population is transportation. But if they can work from home, it solves that issue. So we're very excited about what you're doing after hearing it, and also about the opportunities. And I would like to connect after this to see how you and I can work more closely together.
Well, thank you, Bill. I appreciate that statement and that information, and I will make sure that I get your email from the registration and reach out to you. But I think it makes absolute sense for you to join the council. We just have to look and see what your organization looks like. But kind of touching on your data topic, so the same gentleman who I spoke about from EXE Research, who does chemistry, computation, and big data, he is really working towards making a big data and analytics peer group. So it's right up your alley, along with all of the opportunities that are presented to people who might have different disabilities or challenges to a regular day-to-day work regimen. Absolutely have a space in the tech in the tech industry. We at Capital Area Michigan Works, I think it was about a year ago, Carrie, Takia, you can, kind of correct me, but we did a workshop on diversity and inclusion surrounding people with disabilities. And some of the things I learned about what obstacles are faced and how easy the challenge, not easy, how private business and businesses can make things a lot easier for people with disabilities to work at their organizations. So we would love to bring that philosophy and that thought process into the IT Council and spread that around throughout our companies, because each and every individual that we can get gainfully employed with a great career in IT or any other space through Michigan Works is what we're here to do. So absolutely, we want to look at all of those opportunities that we can. We've started to touch on them a little bit, but we'd love to have you come in and lead us through that.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you. Does anybody else have any comments or questions for Jordan or Carrie or Takia? Okay, hearing none. I just want to thank Jordan for being on and taking the time to share the Capital Area IT Council with us. I think it's so intriguing, and obviously IT is the way of the future. Workforce development is always going to be closely intertwined with it. So being able to use that to forward our mission obviously is a smart way to go. And thank you to Carrie and Takia and everybody else who was here. The follow-up email will be coming out with the recording and the rest of the information. So have a great rest of your day.
I look forward to speaking with anyone who has any more in-depth one-on-one questions. You'll have my information in the slides. Please feel free to reach out. I don't know if you can tell, but I love to chat. So just we'll get together.